All right, I got 6 o'clock, so I'm gonna, since Dave is out, I'm gonna call the October 22nd, 2025 meeting to order.
I'll run the meeting.
That's fine, that's fine. The first thing we gotta do is, since he's out, we gotta do we gotta do this announcement. One or more board members intend to participate in this meeting of the Jefferson Township Board by electronic means of communication. Any board member attending by electronic means of communication shall not participate in any final action of this meeting on any matter listed on Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3.5. So David can still vote, we just have to do a roll call vote each time. That's what
Right.
it comes down to.
Yeah. Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes. Is there any changes that anybody sees on the minutes?
I say they're okay.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes. Somebody want to make the motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay,
David Hakeley,
Aye.
Tim Baker,
aye.
JJ Wicker.
Aye.
Sign my copy here.
Now, I think we need to open the budget adoption meeting. And it is 6:02. We're gonna open the budget adoption meeting. Yes, all the paperwork's here. Nothing's changed from when we published it, right?
Correct. So everything stayed the same as what you guys approved it last time. Only thing I had to do on the state side of things is just go through and move everything over to the adopted tax side, the adopted amounts and the adopted tax rate and everything like that. So if you see on your ordinance and resolutions for appropriation tax form, that's the one we have to sign tonight. You'll see our tax rate will be 0.0729 for everything, which is down from last year's tax rate. The only thing I would say on that top form would be, we're not gonna issue any debt after December 1st and before January 1st, so that one will be a no, and then we won't have any shortfalls this year. So that would be a no also, is what I marked that.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the budget as presented for adopted budget, $285,774. The adopted tax levy is $192,000, and the adopted tax rate is a 0.0729.
Second.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right,
I'll
so,
second it.
roll call now. I don't think you can vote on this one, Dave, since you're
Yeah.
virtual.
yeah, since it's financial, so you can't, so,
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
it says adopting a budget.
Right.
He can vote on other things, but not adopting a budget.
yeah, so this one here, we'll have to write in, can't vote on. So, David, we gotta skip you. Tim Baker,
Yes.
JJ Wicker.
Yes.
All right, have you guys sign my 2 copies? And then, so that's, I think I have to look at the top of that.
What?
I think I have to have, it has to be a resolution number on that. So let me take a look here. Yes, the resolution number on this one will be 1025-2, so make sure we get that in the minutes, so it's right there.
Okay. Okay, we'll close the budget adoption meeting then and go back to the regular board meeting. Next is the 2026 fire agreement. And I'd like to read from our 7/23/25 minutes. I'd like to read from the minutes. It says the town sent a registered letter to the township that they declined to make the changes that the board had suggested at the June 12th, 25 board meeting. Also, there was a response from the fire chief on the changes. Larry was told to go back and work with the town on it. He said he wouldn't do it. There was a discussion of having a joint meeting with the Ossian Town Council and the Jefferson Township Board. It was decided that Larry is the one responsible for the fire contract, and he is the one that needs to work with the town to come up with a contract the Township Board is willing to sign. AJ asked Larry to have Abby check into starting her own fire department. Tim said, no, it isn't Abby's job to do that because that isn't what we hired her to do. So it was pretty much known at that time that I wasn't going to sign it the way it was.
That's pretty well known, the same of me.
And the reason is several things. One, we're still paying on our engine. Now, to understand how we ended up in the fire equipment business, we could only raise so much money because we had a tax levy, and we couldn't exceed that. So we paid money, but then we supplied equipment too to make up for some of it. And we're finishing up paying for a $400,000 engine. And back when we started and they wanted to go to a contract agreement, Dennis said he didn't need our equipment. And we were only about 3 years in for paying for that. And I said, well, if you don't need our equipment, you guys don't own any tankers. What are you going to do for tankers? And he said, oh, we got fire hydrants. I said, well, okay, then what are you gonna do for turnout gear for the other half of your firefighters when we take our half of the turnout gear? And he says, well, we won't need that many firefighters in. So it's been a my way or the highway deal with them guys ever since we started down this road. And it was this way. I'll tell you, I went back and done some research. Kent Gilbert was the last fire chief that they understood we got to work together to get this to work. After him came Richie Connick. Richie Connick goes down the state and he says, I want to start a fire territory. And they said, well, how much money do you need? He says, I need all I can get. And then we got Ben, and it's kind of the same thing. It's my way or the highway. We're paying, if we went with this contract, we were paying $70,000 for firefighters. And our name is not even on the Ossian Fire Inc.'s contract. It's in there, agent, or JJ, right here. No, right here. That agreement is what the Ossian Fire Inc. has with the town of Ossian from 1992. Well, they weren't paying anything for labor back then. And if we're gonna pay on that, we need our name on that contract. And that was one of the things that they declined. Nope. And Ben says in his response, he's gonna get a lot more if he has to redo that contract. So are we being held hostage by them guys? Is that the deal? It's not the guys, it's actually the leadership of the fire department.
This has nothing to do with the firemen.
And the other thing, some of these, the things that the questions, if I can find them. Ben answers the questions, but they're town questions. Like, we wanted to go back to an interlocal agreement because this isn't working. This is not working because we've tried to question him on a couple things and we've got nowhere. We've got nowhere on any of his responses on.
So going to an interlocal agreement sets you up for territory. So that's what that changes.
That might be your opinion, but I don't think it is.
It's not my opinion. That is the facts of how the state
No, it
has
isn't.
everything set up.
We had an interlocal agreement before we ever went to this contract.
A lot of stuff has changed since that has happened.
What's changed that it can't work?
If you're at this point, if you're not gonna sign this contract, there's no reason for me to go forward with this.
There isn't, because I'm not signing it.
Then there's nothing else to talk about.
Okay.
So I've got to make it. If you're not gonna sign this contract, now I need to go find what I need to do next. So I've got to reach out to people to figure out what to do next.
Yep.
So that's as simple as that. So if you're not gonna sign that fire contract, we're pretty much done.
We're done on that contract.
Okay.
There was one town board member that didn't sign it too.
He was not at the meeting. That's why.
It said all board members were present in the paper.
Glenn showed up 40 minutes into the meeting. So Glenn wasn't there for the fire contract talk. So that's why Glenn did not sign it. Glenn showed up at about halfway through that meeting. And that's why the paper reported that all board members were there, because at the end, all board members were there. But Glenn was not there for the first half of that meeting because he had something else going on.
Since you're gonna try to do something different, one, if we go with somebody different, we're not buying any equipment. I'm not even in favor of buying a tanker if we keep going with these guys somehow. If they're wanting to go to a contract down the road, I'm not tying my people up for 6 years on a loan when it's a year-to-year deal.
And I don't want to tie it up in a loan period. That's why we want to do the fire cum. That's why we wanted to That's why we're now got the money saving up for better.
But what has equipment got us? It hasn't got us anything. We haven't been able to get any answers to the questions we want, even though we own equipment. We bought the highest price piece of equipment they got, 400,000.
Yeah, I just know that's where we're at right now, and last time I talked to Ben he doesn't care if we buy a tanker, even if, he said Larry was the one pushing for that, so he doesn't care, because all we use those tankers is less than 250 miles a year, so they don't use them that often, so they were fine with continuing using those 2 tankers for a long time, if needed be, until we get stuff figured out, so, but if you're not gonna sign that contract, then
Maybe AJ feels different, but I'm not signing it. I just, it's not working out for the township. It's not, when we're putting out that kind of money and have no say, no.
like I said, I don't know what to deal with that, so I'll look forward, see what we can do to start the first year. That's all I can say.
Okay, next.
Explain what the function of Austin Fireman's Inc. is.
They are the manpower of the fire.
No, I understand what they are.
Right.
I'm asking, can you explain why there is a third-party, non-governmental entity that
That's
runs
why
the fire department?
That's
that
why
is
they set it up.
taxpayer funded?
I can't tell you that. That's
You
why they
know-
set it up. That's how the fires department
And
started.
How is that even legal? I mean, he says in his response there, if I'm remembering right, that it would be like asking the Elks Lodge or the Moose Lodge for their donation records. But the Elks Lodge and the Moose Lodge is not taxpayer funded. They don't exist solely based on tax money.
Let's,
So how can they be a
It'd be-
third-party entity
it's just,
controlling a taxpayer-funded fire department?
it'd be just like Preble. Preble's set up the same way. Preble's its own, Preble's separate from any government entity. There's
The
a-
fire department is,
Yeah.
there is a third party.
They're a third party.
control-
They are a third
That's
party.
completely different.
That's right.
The entire fire department is third party. I'm very for that.
But
I
they
think the fire department
they
should
get-
be privately.
But they get their money they get a lot of money too from the townships.
Contractually, that's different.
And that's what we're doing here too.
Well, we've got equipment though. We're supplying equipment too.
They don't own our equipment.
No.
They own our equipment.
But what he's trying to say, and I've asked the same thing, what's a third party doing in here? What is it? There's no other volunteer fire department in this.
And that's where we need to go to a territory. You take that third party out of it. You go to a territory or district, you take that third party right out of it. Because
No.
they're not in it anymore.
So if we went to the
That-
territory.
how come,
be-
Because it'll be set up completely different.
how come Nottingham, they're a fire department, they don't have a third party, they're funded by, how come Chester? How come,
Look at their manpower, look at the issues, look how many people live in those 2 townships. Look at Jackson. How many fire departments does Jackson have?
but how, what are we doing dealing with a third party? That, I've asked the same thing, and I asked the old guys that are the old firemen up there, 90 years old in town, how'd you guys ever end up with Ossian Fire Inc.? And none of them can remember back why they ever did it. One guy said, well, I think it was insurance reasons back years ago, in case somebody got hurt. It kind of isolated the township. But I said, well, we got insurance to cover our firefighters. We don't need that now.
Well, I'm not even saying pro or con as far as it goes. I just don't understand how
The only
it can
thing,
exist. I mean,
Just
with,
like-
with no oversight. If
Well-
you're gonna read his statement about you can't get any oversight or even see any of their records because they're a third party, I don't understand that.
and the reason I asked for their records is if they go out on a fire, they bill that person their insurance. If their insurance will pay, they get that money. They're getting paid by the county. And the county, that resolution says it's with the town of Ossian. But the Ossian Fire Inc. claims they get that check from from the county for providing the rescue $5,000 a year. But it says it's with that is with the town. But if they're getting taxpayer money, I think the taxpayer ought to be entitled to see why. Where are you spending it? What are you doing with it? But
So how would it change if we went to a district or a territory?
Is
What do
there-
you mean by
There's
that?
a lot of work that goes into setting those up, but
No, I know,
All the
I went to all the meetings about it, if we went to a territory, Ossian Firemen's Inc. would no longer have any, it would just be,
it'd be how this is set up to what that would be set up is completely different. So Austin Firemen Inc. would have to adjust. They won't have a contract with the territory, so they would have to sign a new contract with the territory or the. So yes, you may
so they
still
would still exist.
you may still have a
it just
third party, but that contract that we
would
don't
be
have.
with the county instead of with us.
No, it'll be with, if it's a territory, it'd be with the territory is not county. Territory is between the entities that have that. So for Bluffton, that territory is Bluffton, Harrison, and Lancaster.
Mhm.
So they have a board that approves, should approve everything of theirs. And so whatever they have with the fire department goes through that board, but it's still funneled, all that money's still funneled through Bluffton, is how that's set up. But you have to set up a new contract, so what they have with Austin, what we never had with the Fireman's Inc., they have that now.
Okay, AJ, but who has to say so? Who has to say so in a territory or a district?
The,
So.
so the territory,
Now,
the territory board,
Right now, you have to border them. You have to physically touch the border of it. So
Yeah.
if we go to a territory or a district, who has to say so?
the board of,
The board, we would, because we border it.
no, it'd be the
We sign
board,
away our rights. If
the-
we sign our way of rights to Ossian and give them a check and have nothing to show for it, then they're in charge of it. But as it stands right now, if they want to go to a territory district, they have to come and deal with us because we're the only ones that border them.
that's,
The township is what borders, would border Bluffton or Markle or any of the, it'd be Markle or Bluffton because we border them.
which I've
So
already,
it'd be up to us to negotiate it, not the town of Ossian.
no, the territory, it depends on which direction we go. So at this point, you guys aren't signing the agreement, let's move forward.
Well, I was just asking for
Well,
educational reasons.
a lot of these questions, like on the interlocal agreement, should have been answered by the town, not the fire chief.
And did you guys ever go to the town council and ask them directly?
We went through that last year, AJ. It's the trustee's job.
Yeah, it's your job, and you want to say that we didn't show up when they did their budget.
You should have scheduled the meeting. It's up to the trustee to do that, not us.
Well,
That we have established that.
Well, the budget meeting with the town was not advertised as a dual meeting. so they
that's
couldn't
right.
anyway.
Correct.
But the other
They
thing,
weren't part of it. They didn't want to.
well, we were notified on a Saturday that they're going over their budget on Monday evening, and if we wanted to put any input in it, we should be there. Well, there wasn't even time to advertise it for a joint meeting, so.
But it should have been scheduled by the trustee. That's just.
But I'm through, we did that last year. You remember how that went? And I pointed out the fuel was way too high. And Ben, all he did was talk around it, but we never changed the number. We never changed the number.
All right.
Okay, next spending limits. I closed the budget adoption meeting, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well, let's see. We got a paper here on that somewhere.
Should be one that says resolution, then. It was like that. This should be just a single file back page. Maybe this is it with your fire agreement?
Yeah, Yeah, put it in the folder.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, okay. This is another AI thing.
Well, yes, because I can't spend the time doing that, but I have to go through it, had to go through and correct a lot of things, so get a lot of it corrected, get the right codes in there and the right amounts but for the most part, it was drafted by AI, but AI is never 100% right, because
Okay, it says the trustee shall maintain receipts, invoices, and supporting documents for all expenditures and provide a disbursement report at each regular advisory board meeting summarizing payments since the prior meeting by fund and vendor.
So I think currently, right now, what we do, I think Susan's sending that out to you guys monthly, correct?
Yeah, but I wanted to add in there with year-to-date expenditures and income for each fund. So you maybe would send out, I'd want it year-to-date so I can compare how we're doing on our budget compared to, rather than just the monthly or,
Because right now, is she just sending out monthly, or is she sending out the year-to-date too?
I don't know.
I can't.
But I'd want the year-to-date
And
each
that's-
time.
And that's kind of just,
I didn't know whether you wanted to add that in there, or just.
I just kind of left it that vague because we can make it a little bit, because like how we're doing it right now is working better than just waiting, because meetings could be several months.
Yeah,
behind,
right,
so.
right. So as long as we get the year-to-date income and expenses on each fund and what the money was spent on, what you had come in into each fund.
Yeah, I don't think every time she sends them, we need to go clear back to the first year like.
Well-
Recently, I mean, as long as we got that month and then like.
The only thing is, Dave, I'd rather they go back to the first of the year, because remember Larry swapped stuff out on us a few times.
Well, he did, you're correct, he did.
You know?
Stuff out, we couldn't keep, that's.
He went back and changed things after he passed it out.
After he passed it out, that's right, that's right.
So, yeah, just go back to the first of the year every time.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's probably easier to print a report anyhow. I mean, I'm buying ink and paper like it's going out of style anyhow.
So
I mean-
I'll let Susan know, just send you the year-to-date report. That way you guys have that too.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion, we, sign this resolution. I didn't, what was your number on that
That
one?
one's gonna be 1025-3.
Three. And we'll have to do it by roll call, or well, I'll need a second first.
Yeah, we need
I'll
to.
second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second it, I'll
Okay.
second it.
JJ seconded it for the minutes. Tim made the motion.
David Haefley, Tim Baker,
Aye.
JJ Wicker.
Aye.
That was the 22nd. Sign that copy. Are you done signing?
Yeah.
And then we got the meeting dates. Next, we got,
So what date? in
the
December?
December 25th meeting date. Come up with a date.
what dates work for you guys in December?
Well, after the 12th, so it'd be the 15th on.
The 17th work for you guys?
As far as I know.
Yeah.
Works for me.
December 17th?
Dave, you okay with that?
As far as I know, no, I got the children's Christmas service.
Uh-oh,
Kids,
you can't do that one.
I can't do that one. 16th or the 18th will work.
I'm out the 18th. I got something else going on that night. 16th work for you guys? I think I can make that one happen.
Okay,
The 16th, and, yep. That'll be at 6 o'clock.
okay.
While we're on that subject, the meeting date and the time, why do we seem to have an issue with the paper getting the right time in the paper? You know, they printed it this meeting at 5 o'clock. It was printed, I got several calls asking, reaffirming what time, because the paper said 5 o'clock.
This meeting, I never sent,
Yes,
if they did, it was was in the last letter.
I couldn't tell you, I never seen it. I just received calls from people that seen it in the paper and was asking me why it was changed to 5 o'clock, and I said, our agenda says 6.
Yeah, I never sent anything on this meeting besides what was sent in prior in the paper. So I never sent the paper this one because I was so busy last week. I completely spaced on sending it to the paper on time. So I
I
can't,
don't know, I just received a couple calls that, why it was at 5 o'clock, AJ, and that's
yeah, you just,
all I can.
all you can tell them is, hey, it's at 6. Don't, people make mistakes. That's all you can say.
I know, it just seems to happen here. It's not just when you were on, it's happened when Larry was in there, they messed up our time.
Any, all right, 2026.
Okay, I got a couple questions.
Mhm.
This February 11th, is that when we're gonna sign the annual financial
Yeah,
report?
that should be the annual financial report, it's the 11th.
Can you have it done by then, you think?
I should be able to.
Okay,
I don't think it should take me that long.
and then, you got August 19th and October 14th for the budget hearing and adoption. That's over a month apart.
Mm-hmm.
How come so wide?
Gives us, so we don't have to meet twice in a month, give us a little bit more time in between. We should have plenty of time, because I should be able to get the budget done by the August 19th meeting, then we could come back in October.
When do you get done with your budget workshop?
Whenever I schedule and get done with it, because I think they start doing meetings in end of July, August, so.
Well, that's what I wondered. You'll be done with your budget workshop meeting by August 19th.
Once I get it scheduled and done.
These are just tentative anyhow.
Yeah, they're tentative, but, because the budget workshop takes an hour. It doesn't take long to do all that stuff. Because you have all your numbers figured out, kind of, because by that, you have your June and July, you know what you spent and you know what you're going forward. And then by July, you should know what any state law that the state sets. Like I said, I know they're gonna change stuff for next year. So by July, we would know kind of what direction they're going. So by August, should know by
Okay.
then.
The December 16th may be okay, it may not. It might be too close, I don't
And
know.
that's fine. It's just kind of getting dates out there so we kind of
Yeah.
have something that we can adjust as we go. Like I said, April 15th and June 10th. That's why I put if needed. We may not
Okay.
need to meet those 2 dates. Because
Okay.
all we need to meet is basically 4 times a year. All we gotta meet is January, the first Tuesday after the first Monday for, reorganization. And then February, we have to do the annual financial review and then 2 budget hearings. That's all we have to have. We don't have to have more than that.
Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna go with them dates tentatively then.
Correct. Like, the first one is January 6th. That is mandated by the
Yeah.
state code that we have to
Yeah.
meet that day.
Yeah,
Any questions, David?
No, nope,
Okay.
I'm good.
okay. Then, final comments.
On the final comments, 'cause I got this yesterday, that's why it's so late. Our insurance renews right now, so it starts effective yesterday, with 16th. So right now, we're still covered. From what, Tom was telling me is nothing, it may have gone up slightly, but nothing's changed. So the first one, of course, is workman comp. That covers us. Something happens here in the office or if somebody working out at the cemeteries. Even though the, cemetery guys who take care of the cemeteries are supposed to have their own coverage too, but you still have to have coverage there. And then the second one is the package policy. That is all of our liability insurance. So anything that happen, like Tom was saying, if I deny somebody township assistance and they come back and try to sue for
Yeah.
that's what that covers. So it's $1 million policy there, so.
Okay.
But this is well within our budget for this year, remaining of this year. We have that money in that budget to pay these 2 bills, so I just want to make sure that you guys are fine with getting those 2 bills paid for our insurance.
Yeah.
I'll have, Yeah.
Are we square on all the budgets, AJ? Are we square on
Yeah.
the township assistance?
Yeah.
The cemeteries?
Correct.
He didn't go over on nothing.
Only thing we've gone over is, IT and, accounting. But there's enough funds in the other accounts, even after paying this insurance, that when we transfer funds at the end of the year, we'll be good. There'll still be plenty in the budget.
What about on the fire? Did you ever check into that?
Yeah.
Fire for what?
Well, as far as your income, what you took in and what you spent on the, fire fund.
So go back, I printed that out before the meeting. So if you go to that last page, I redid all that. So if you see everything's still remaining 100% till you go to that next page. Now you'll see your fire contracts in there.
Yeah, but
So-
then I'm talking about where it had your income, what you collected in taxes
Okay.
and what you spent. It was,
So it's so weird how this report does it, because it doesn't capture the encumbered funds, it doesn't capture transfers. So those funds are in a different, I can't figure out how to print it to show that, those encumbered funds. So I might have to get with,
well, we haven't encumbered anything on that.
he did last year. And I guess the state was fine with it, with him covering it like he did. So 30,000, was it 30? I think it was 30,000 encumbered.
Well, the encumbered would have been for the, you're talking for the fire suit or something.
Correct, but that's in that, if you look at the report, that's why that one is so high.
He should have only encumbered 10,000. He really shouldn't have encumbered anything. to tell you the
Oh, sorry,
truth.
it was 10, so what we dispersed was 10. That's why I was thinking 30, because that was, no, it's 10,921 is what we spent on that stuff. So that's what he encumbered, was that amount. So that's why if you look at dispersed year to date is higher than it should be. Because it should be at that 61,000 and not the 72,000.
But it didn't list how much money you collected.
Yeah, it doesn't show on this how much we collected. This is just
No,
a
and
budget.
that's what I think on the last one I said that we were upside down because we had spent more than we collected.
And then again, it doesn't show that.
I took that 10,000 off and it's
Okay,
still,
a little high, because again, I don't know why the book software company, or maybe, I don't think they did it right when they put it in there. They didn't do a bank-to-bank transfer, they did it as a payment from one bank to another, instead of doing a bank-to-bank
well,
transfer.
I took out the money they put in the Indiana fund. I took
Right.
out the encumbered money and looked at what he spent on the fire contract and what he collected, and what he'd spent on the fire contract went over on what he collected. But
Yeah, I didn't think it was that.
But see, I don't know how the state looks at that, whether they let you run in the red as long as at the end of the year you're okay.
At the end of the year, before the end of the year, you gotta.
You
make
gotta
sure
be
to-
okay by then, but will they let you run through the year in the red?
Yes, because they know you don't get half your funds till December. So there's sometimes you gotta be a little bit in the red. As long as your bank account, you can't go less in your bank account. That's the biggest thing.
Well, you might look at that. That's the only one I noticed that might be an issue.
Okay. Way I was looking at everything, what we have coming in, we should be fine. Anything else?
I think that's all I have. You got anything, AJ?
I tried, I know, I might as well get this in the minutes on the meeting, AJ. I tried, I asked you last week if there was anything left in the office. We're missing some cemetery cleaning supplies, and I can't, since you've got the receipts, I can't tell what that stuff cost us. I've got no idea what the cemetery cleaning materials cost us, but we have no idea where that's at. And I tried to get a hold of the state police on it, and they have not called me back. And that was right after our last meeting. So I don't know what to go about that. So I don't know how much money we're out on that or where that product is at.
I'll get with
But
Larry, Larry on that.
Yeah, we are out, we are out cemetery cleaning supplies, and there should be two different supplies, because he told us he bought one, supposedly it didn't work, and then he bought another one, and then he found out the other one should work, so there should be somewhere we're missing stone cleaning supplies.
All right, I'll get with Larry on that one and see what he can tell me.
Okay. Sounds good.
Uh,
I guess that's all I got.
How you coming on running the office on appointments? Is that going okay or?
Because the only people I ever have that come to the office is township assistant people. And so I haven't needed to bring anybody in yet. And even then, Karen was doing it by appointments too. She would schedule them in. I'll get a couple people call in and I tell them, hey, let me know what information you need, because it's working, it's going. But like I said, only thing you got people coming into the office for is township assistants.
Okay. And Susan's staying on okay?
Susan's staying okay, and I told her
Okay.
she's coming in at least twice. She's coming in twice a week. She's kind of set her own hours, and I know when she's in the office because I get my notifications that somebody's floating around. So I know she's putting in her hours and she's getting bills paid and
Good.
making sure everything's flowing. So.
And we still, as far as getting rid of the investigator, you can't tell us nothing on why she was gotten rid of or anything.
Just the way her attitude was just the biggest thing. She would not agree. She would not, with the new guidelines, she would not have been, she was throwing a fit about that. And then with me having a tracking them, she did not like that. So it came down to, she just needed to go. That's why.
Yeah.
So nothing
Okay,
illegal
well,
with
I just wanted to make sure that we had your back, or, so
No.
we understood what went on in case something becomes of it. So
No,
we-
I
we
had
would make
everything
sure-
documented. I had a police officer there when I let her go. So nope, I make sure I track my own back. I know
Okay,
how to
well,
follow the
I
policy.
just,
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure so that we were sure we had your back.
Yep.
That's all I was after.
Got
Okay.
anything else, JJ?
No.
Okay, anything else? Either you two?
No.
Okay, it's 6:45. I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second it.
David Haefley,
Aye.
Tim Baker,
Aye.
JJ Wicker.
Aye.
Sounds
Meeting's
good.
adjourned.
Thank you, guys.